Some people might suggest that Prince Harry truly needs to have a heart, in particular a heart of Invictus. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good to see you. Morning. Thank you so much as ever for your time. Or good evening. I know I have to say this because so many people around the world are now retiring. Some people actually say, Neil, you put me to sleep. Yes. Can imagine that actually. How dare you put you to sleep? But actually, I wish we could find, don't you? Are you more alive, or not alive, but you know what I mean, more awake at the time you go to bed than at the time you get up and you think, why wasn't I like this at 7 a.m? Suddenly at 11 a.m. you think, yes, I could clean the bathroom. 7 a.m? No. Recently, it has been revealed that the cost of security for Harry and Meghan, who made a recent visit, of course, earlier this year to promote next year's Invictus Games in the wonderful land that is Canada, Vancouver, cost around about £25,000. A lot of money. I mean, that is a lot of money, you know, particularly as we all know, governments, people are struggling everywhere around the world. But this has truly opened something of a can of worms. And I've often said this about celebrity. You've got to be very careful when you align yourself to charities because people remember what you've said, what you've done. And the bigger picture on stuff like that is, if you remember with Prince Harry's book Spare, well, on the press review, he pointed out that he was going to be giving, donations from the profits of the book. And yet silence, Penguin Random House, silence. You can't do this. If you put something out, people will remember. Best to even just be honest and say you've had a change of mind or you're only giving this much. It's important. Now, here's where it gets even more complicated because, as we know, there's been a change of, shall we say, CEO at the top of Invictus, and there's lots of movement. They're looking for money, a lot of money to sustain it. Now, you know, I'm a big fan of all the people that get involved in the games. I think they do a terrific job and they're very inspirational, but it costs. Now, when you consider how much this is going to cost next year, you're going to have a lot of big sponsors. But here's where it gets even more grey area. And I think Meghan and Harry need to come out and nip this in the bud, or their team do. You see, as you remember last year, there was a documentary on Netflix called Heart of Invictus. And the point of this was that it was going to showcase what a splendid job that, of course, it was started over 10 years ago alongside His Majesty the King, the then Prince of Wales, and Prince William, alongside Catherine, the Princess of Wales. All were instrumental in making this very successful. Let's not forget also the Princess Royal, Princess Anne. Everybody wanted to help promote it. Now, many people suggest, of course, that the brand has now become incredibly toxic. That's all thanks to the fact that it seems to be the Harry and Meghan show. And we saw that predominantly when Meghan decided to march in front of the veterans in some hot pants and some sandals. Many people over here would now like to see it headed by a true sportsman, perhaps Mike Tyndall. That's right, the husband of Zara, the daughter of the Princess Royal. I think he would be a perfect choice, a sportsman, not frightened to get in there and lead from the front. Here's where it gets complicated though, because now a lot of people want some transparency from Harry and Meghan. So with the money from Heart of Invictus, which somebody was paid for, was it part of the deal of Netflix? And if so, what portion went to the Invictus Games, the charity, to sustain that? Or what didn't? Because lots of people were featured in it. Did they get paid for that? And if you need and want to move forward with this, whether they want to or not, you're going to have to come clean. Because right now, I can tell you, Harry and Meghan, lots of people are looking into those accounts to see exactly how they stack up. Now, with the Archwell Foundation, we found out that they'd forgot to post the check. And we also found out that they only do 1 hour a week for their charity. So things are not looking great. So wouldn't it now be a good time to have a heart and be honest about what's going on inside Invictus? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.